I would say there are as equally many positives as there have been, even to that point, ultimately, the fact that we have had to challenge our thinking because of the disruption we've seen, I think is a positive. Ultimately, further down the line, I think that these are considerations, as you kind of suggest, that perhaps we may not have looked at so closely if our hand wasn't forced. So I think the fact that we address these, I think it's again the word that keeps coming to my mind on so many different aspects is the acceleration. I think what we've done massively is we've accelerated the maturity of our thinking around servitization. I say that with the greatest respect because, I my job is just to report on and translate that thinking. I don't have the task of doing the thinking. That's for people with the big brains like yourselves and your colleagues in academia. And I have huge amount of respect for the work you do. But I think that's something that as academia drives the thinking around this alongside industry. And I think it's one of the things I love about this whole movement around servitization is such a perfect symbiosis of academia and industry, and it's a very, very cyclical kind of learning process. And I think all of us in industry and academia combined have probably had to take a step back and go, well, maybe we should just test some of our assertions a little bit more rigorously. Let's do some harder thinking. I mean, one of the things you touched on there, which from a field service point of view I think is going to be a massive consideration, is the movement of people. And I've seen, and I don't know if you're seeing this as well, but I've seen obviously huge shift out of necessity last year. We saw a huge shift towards the adoption of remote services. We've done some extensive work around that at Field Service News. Again, the team at Field Service News Research have done some important work into studying that. We've done some significant various white papers and pieces. We've got a documentary coming up as well. So for those watching this, if remote service and trying to make that piece work is an important factor for you, do head over to the Field Service News Resources section with your FSM Premium subscription. There's a number of different white papers that cover different aspects of this, right from simple buyer's guides to understanding pricing and how this all should sit together holistically, because that's a big drum I'm trying to beat, is that we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But Christian, one of the things I've really seen is we've got this acceptance now that the default doesn't have to be let's get an engineer out when we've got something that's gone wrong, and even towards the preventative maintenance. I'm seeing that the frontline field service engineer role is almost becoming more subject matter expert based. That's where I see it going in the future. And the first line triage is very much more software based, leveraging artificial intelligence, triage being done with remote service tools, whether that be something sophisticated like augmented reality and leveraging the IoT data out there. That's my vision of where we will go with the future. And I think the service engineer is essentially going to be the expert that you have to send when you can't fix something remotely, which is a kind of a flip of that traditional way of looking at it. I'd be really keen to get your thoughts around that and understand.
I think that will continue to evolve.
Your thought processes around how that will evolve.
We see increased acceptance among customers also, realizing that, well, if a technician or engineer cannot come visiting us, we need to share our data one way or the other. You mentioned augmented reality. I spoke to one service executive. They very timely actually launched a remote service on a subscription basis, and it was perfect timing last spring, just when everything shut down. So now they could actually assist customers remotely, doing many of the more basic but also some more advanced service tasks. And many of these customers traditionally have been much more reluctant to actually share this information and to remotely show the production sites and so forth. certainly for some industries, some customers, that's still an issue. We also have, I mean, the negative side here is cybersecurity, where we hear all the time about industrial espionage and security breaches and so forth. So clearly that is really important. But at the same time, this opens up for a lot of new service opportunities. And it's also a wonderful way of managing human resources much more effectively, because it's not easy to recruit and retain a lot of skilled people. That's a big challenge for many companies. So if they can be utilized in a much more effective way, that's potentially a big win-win for everyone.